Welcome back to the Better Everyday's Classic Bookshelf, a channel that shares knowledge about personal development through great books. Today's video is a sharing session about the classic novel, The Alchemist, with the title, Where Does True Motivation Come From? Join us and let's listen. When we are in our 20s, many of us wonder what our dreams are and what we really want to do. By the age of 25, we ask ourselves if we have truly worked hard enough to achieve our dreams. Is this the path that aligns with our heart and desires? And when we turn 30, we bow our heads once again and ask ourselves if we should start pursuing our dreams if we haven't achieved them yet. If you are still struggling with an uncertain heart, with just 2 hours of reading this 225-page book, The Alchemist, you can find the answer for yourself. The Alchemist has been published for over 30 years, translated into 81 languages, and sold well in over 170 countries. In Brazil, its fame is on par with God and soccer. The reason why this book has such a great influence is that when we read it, we can all see our own shadow somewhere in this story. The Alchemist tells the story of a shepherd boy, Santiago, who, in order to fulfill his dream, did not hesitate to sell his entire flock of sheep, his entire inheritance, and overcame countless difficulties to achieve his dream of finding the treasure on the desert. This is a fable and also a very simple story, but it has changed the hearts of hundreds of millions of readers, and it is also the spiritual journey of the author himself. At the age of 17, the author Paulo Coelho was rebellious and was sent to a mental hospital by his parents, and he was imprisoned for fighting against the dictatorial regime as he grew up. At the age of 38, it seemed that the author still couldn't accomplish anything, and he embarked on a 600 kilometers pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela, Spain, which lasted more than 3 months, gradually calming his hot-tempered heart. Afterwards, he embedded his insights and experiences from this trip into the story of the young shepherd Santiago's quest for treasure. After its publication, The Alchemist lit up the hearts of countless people who were lost and adrift in life, and Coelho became the only Latin American writer who could compare with Marquez, the author of the timeless novel 100 Years of Solitude. The Alchemist tells us that a life without purpose is just a chaotic maze, and all those who step into it will spend their entire lives searching for a way out. If you care too much about gaining or losing, you will always miss your dreams. Santiago, the protagonist of the story, was born into a very ordinary family in Spain. His parents lived off a few acres of land, and when he was born, they placed all their hopes on him. They sent him to a seminary with the hope that he would become a priest and bring pride to the family. While being a priest would provide a stable life, that was not Santiago's desire. One day, he mustered the courage to tell his father that he did not want to become a priest. His dream was to travel and explore the world, even though his father vehemently objected. However, his father could not persuade someone who had truly made up his mind. In the end, he had to compromise and agreed to let his son try his luck. He gave him 3 gold coins and told him to buy sheep and live the life he wanted. These 3 gold coins were not just a compromise from his father. They also symbolized his father's enthusiasm and support from the bottom of his heart because Santiago's father, as a young man, also had a dream of traveling to different places. In this book, each character has their own dream. If Santiago's father also wanted to travel, even the popcorn seller on the street from a young age dreamed of going to Africa. Or the crystal shop owner who wanted to go to Mecca. Even the robbers near the pyramids had a dream of hunting for treasure just like Santiago. However, for many reasons and under the pressure of reality, they eventually had to give up on their dreams and could only leave behind regrets every day. But regardless of those reasons, they always lie in the balance between gain and loss. This calculation has overshadowed their original aspirations and desires. If we lack the courage and persistence to pursue what we truly want, we will never break through the safety zone in front of us. Santiago, the protagonist, broke through that comfortable reality by leaving his homeland and becoming a shepherd, choosing to live the life he desired. In 2 years, he learned many skills of a shepherd, saw many beautiful sceneries, and met many people. He thought his entire life would be peaceful with the current life, but once again, like a signal from the universe sent to him through a dream, he dreamed for 2 consecutive days of a boy leading him to Egypt and telling him that there was a treasure nearby. What did this dream mean? He met an old man known as the King of Salem who told him that this dream was his destiny. The treasure was truly attractive, but the current life was more practical. Santiago was very hesitant. If he pursued the treasure now, he would have to give up what he had like many others. He almost lost himself once. If you care too much about what you gain and lose, you may lose what truly makes your destiny. As the King of Salem said to the young shepherd, what is called destiny is actually what we truly want to do. This saying immediately sparked a passion in Santiago, not for his lifelong dream of wanting to see the vast world outside. Santiago followed the call of his heart once again and chose to pursue his own dream. You need to know that the biggest mistake in life is when you give up and bow down to reality, saying that it's too late, this is your destiny, and you have to accept it. But in fact, destiny is not something that makes you regret. Destiny is what you truly want to do. People still wonder whether they will regret what they haven't done or what they have done in the end. According to a study, for most things that people have done, if there is a failure, in a short time we will only regret why we did not do better, and over time we will gradually rationalize it and no longer feel regretful. But for things that we truly desire and cannot achieve, we will ponder them every day and regret them for a lifetime, and it is difficult to forget for the rest of our lives. Because we cannot rationalize it and cannot persuade ourselves. A writer once said that because we refuse to take the first step, dreams will always be distant, and dreams cannot withstand waiting and are also afraid of disappointment. Just like red-hot steel in the fire, it can only be shaped as desired if it is tempered in time at a high temperature. Once it cools down, it will become more difficult to shape. Therefore, when your long-time silent dream is awakened, take action immediately and take the first step in pursuing your dream while that passion still exists. Even if we may never reach it in the end, but in our daily efforts we will still see ourselves improving day by day. What knocks you down will make you stronger in determination. On the path of pursuing dreams, it's not always smooth sailing. In the early days in Africa, Santiago also experienced 2 big setbacks. The first was the language barrier, and the second was meeting someone who spoke Spanish. He thought this person was a true friend, but in the end, he was swindled out of all his money. It was just yesterday that his future looked bright, but now he has not a penny to his name. Santiago seemed to be on the verge of collapsing in an instant. He remembered that not long ago, he still had 60 sheep, but now he had nothing. He felt lonely and isolated in a foreign land, and at that moment, he remembered the words of the King of Salem who said that when we decide to do something, the whole universe will conspire to help us achieve it. These words gave him more confidence and courage. The next day, he packed his things and wandered around the city in search of opportunities for himself. Life sometimes gives us a blow, but it also gives us hope, as long as we have a good eye for identifying problems that need to be solved and are always willing to help others. Santiago found a crystal store on the street, but it was quite empty. Through observation, he suggested to the owner that the crystals had to be cleaned to attract more customers, and he would help him polish all the crystals without charging him as long as the owner gave him a meal. When the uncle did not agree, Santiago took the initiative to wipe the crystal jars. To his surprise, 2 customers came to buy them, so he was hired. However, achieving his dream of going to Egypt required more than just a few days of work here to earn enough money. During the pursuit of his dream, there were times when he felt the most desperate, which was when he worked extremely hard for a long time but only to find that his dream was still far away. Santiago was also very sad about this, but he still had to stay at the crystal store, temporarily putting his dream aside and focusing on earning money. Sometimes, he had great ideas to help the store's business grow. 1 year later, Santiago earned twice the amount of money he had initially and even learned to speak Arabic. For someone who truly wants to do something, the obstacles in front of us are no longer injustice or hardship, but rather seen as a challenge to train ourselves and a stepping stone to become more mature. Letting go is the key to reaching the shore of our dreams. At this point, Santiago continued to have a choice. One was to live a wealthy business life, and the other was to pursue his dream. The crystal merchant tried to persuade him to stay, but Santiago remembered the words of the king of Salem to always remember what he wanted. He gave up the immediate wealthy life and chose to continue pursuing his dream. He never forgot that his goal was to go to Egypt to hunt for treasure. He continued his journey across thousands of kilometers of desert and arrived at a small oasis where he met a beautiful girl named Fatima. In that moment, Santiago's heart was filled with love from the first glance. After a long time, he deeply loved this girl and even intended to give up his dream to stay on the island with his lover forever. However, the dreams of the alchemist awakened Santiago from losing himself while in love. Abandoning his dream would have caused regret for his whole life, and his lover would have lived with the weight of that decision for the rest of her life. After seeing his own heart, Santiago persisted in pursuing his dream and was determined to go to Egypt. The writer Paulo Coelho once said that those who truly live are those who know how to let go, and those who are willing to let go can achieve greatness. Those who have achieved great things know how to give up immediate comfort and joy in order to pursue their true dreams in their hearts. The real motivation always comes from the inner passion. And then the character Santiago encountered countless great challenges when he joined the treasure hunt in Egypt, crossing the desert. He was captured by military camp soldiers and all his money was taken away. He faced situations where he had to transform himself into wind within 3 days, or else he would lose his life to the group of people. Despite the impossible challenge, he still maintained his spirit, using all the love and compassion in his heart to communicate with the sun and the wind, feeling the soul of the world, connecting with all things and making efforts to understand the language of the universe. With the encouragement and inspiration of the alchemist, he challenged the impossible and finally transformed into wind. However, when he reached the pyramid, not only did he not find the treasure, he was also beaten up and robbed of all his gold by some bandits. But from the words of the bandits, he learned the exact location of the treasure, which happened to be in his hometown. When you truly have a dream that you always want to fulfill and that always exists in your heart, no matter how difficult life may be, it cannot make it difficult for you. It's just as nature once said, that someone who knows why they live can endure any kind of life. The author also reveals that it is only when one has the ability to make their dreams come true that life becomes more interesting. Each of us has infinite potential in life, and the pursuit of dreams always contains countless joys. Dreams may not always come true, but in the process of pursuing them, you will find true happiness and joy, and you will surely become a better version of yourself. Just like the character Santiago in this book, he crossed the sea and the desert, went around in circles, and finally returned to the starting point, only to find the treasure. It may seem like a waste of time, but in reality, what he saw and heard along the way, the people and things he encountered, added richness to his entire life. Even if Santiago didn't find the treasure, the life he experienced was extremely interesting. All the ups and downs were experiences that made up his process of maturity. Life is not just the days we live, it's the days worth remembering. Dear friends, please remember that when you have a dream, you must pursue it. Never give up on the dream in your heart, even if it seems difficult. Keep your dream in the warmest place in your heart. No one can stop you from living the life you want except yourself. You must believe that all motivation comes from within yourself. You must believe that there is no tomorrow that you cannot reach for the rest of your life. We all have the courage to face the true desires in our hearts, to pursue our dreams, to take responsibility for our own lives, and to make them shine. Thank you for listening to Better Every Day, a channel that shares comprehensive knowledge through great books. If you find today's video helpful, please share it with those who need it and support me with a like, follow, and notification bell to watch my latest videos every week. If you have any emotions or thoughts, please share them in the comments below. Thank you and goodbye.